Hello everyone. So it's what 1 minute to 5, so we will start shortly. I hope you have come prepared because well um, we're just jump starting um, and I'm not going to introduce you to every little bit, but I will try to explain along the way what I'm doing. And of course you will have the replay later on, so you can reverse it and go through everything. So hello Mladen, hello Neil. uh, I hope you're doing fine. Oh Mladen, sorry you couldn't make it last time, and I'm really happy you're here, so we can start learning together. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. now and we can start. Let me open my keynote presentation. Okay, and then I'm not sure I can let's see, it should work fine. Is it working fine now? Because when I tested, everything seemed really loud. Let me just check. Are you all hearing the audio? Let me just see. It should be loud enough. I hope it is. Well, if you're not hearing the audio pretty loud, just say it in the chat so I can try to make it louder a bit. But let's now start with the presentation. Okay, so building your first Gutenberg block. Before I start, let me just just say a little bit about myself. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. So I'm a WordPress developer and educator. You can find my plugins and other stuff on the wp.org, and you can also follow me on Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter in social media, so you'll probably find me there replying, tweeting, or anything. And you can also read my blog on ebanis.com, where I write tutorials. I'm also the plugin author of several plugins. The most popular and I think the first plugin that I started to sell and build premium code is the simple giveaways, and then later on I also started working on premium features with live scores for WordPress. And you can also find my other books where I've written about WooCommerce, easy digital downloads, and the WordPress customizer for beginners. And let's now jump to the Gutenberg development. First are the resources, then I'll talk about the create Guten, not gluten. Why is gluten the autocorrect? Sorry. So Guten block tool, and then we will build an autocomplete block. Okay, so the resources are, first is the Gutenberg handbook. So as WordPress has all other handbooks about themes and plugins, they also created a Gutenberg handbook which explains how to develop custom blocks. It's not a complete handbook. You will probably miss some information, but to get you started, it's pretty well written. Another one is the Gutenberg course from Zach Gordon, which I also bought, and I have gone through it. It's really helpful to get you started. And then of course the Gutenberg core. This is something that I'm using while developing. I'm always browsing through the code to see how the core team has built a block or several of them. I'm doing the same strategy even when working on my plugins, custom solutions, I'm always having the complete WordPress installation, and I'm browsing through the core code or through WooCommerce code if I'm building a WooCommerce solution, and there are several articles. Of course, this is one of mine. This is the latest one, where I'm showing how to display a post from a drop down, and we will build something close to it, but with an autocomplete feature. Then there are other two which I have found while searching for development of Gutenberg blocks, and I see and I found them pretty simple to follow. So be sure to check that out. So let's go over a block. So how do we build a block? First, we need to register some scripts. This is the handle that what is happening? So this is the handle that we are using. This is the JavaScript that we will enqueue, and these are some of the dependencies. So this code is actually extracted from the handbook, and then we are registering the block type by using this, which is also used in JavaScript when registering our block. And also we are putting the editor script, which is this handle here. That's everything we need to do in PHP just for starting out, of course. And then the register of the block is inside the JavaScript. So this code is the modern JavaScript. It's not the old one. But if you go here in the block API and you, let's say, I'm not sure is this one or not. Oh, let me just, so here you can also see how you can create some blocks, and this is the code that I've extracted. So it's Gutenberg handbook blocks, writing your first block type. And so you don't need to know the modern JavaScript. You can also use the older one by following this type of build of development. But I'll use the modern one here. Okay, so let's go back to my presentation, and the first one that we need to do is to register our block. This is actually the namespace and the slug of our block, and if I go back, you can see that this is the same thing that we have used here. Then we add a title, we add an icon, it can be a dash icon or even can be a full SVG XML, and if you are using the modern one, the modern JavaScript, then you should also write the SVG in JSX. Then we place a category, we use attributes, and this is where the actual content will go, and this will be extracted from the HTML that will be saved, so we can use it in our edit and save functions. So the edit function is the function that will define everything we do in the editor. The save function is something that will be saved in the post content in the just as a content in the post content column of the post. The same way that when you write now without the Gutenberg and you write a post content, you add an H2, you add a paragraph, you add a block quote, everything is saved in the raw HTML, right? So this function will create this raw HTML and save it. And once again, when we reload the page, this attribute will define how is this saved here. So the JavaScript will know how to extract the content here and make it available in attributes. That's in my opinion, the attributes part is a bit hard to understand. Actually, I don't even understand it fully now, but I'm browsing through the core code, and I will hopefully have a new article on that in a week or so. Okay, so everything is here. We have the edit, we have the save function, And now the create, again the autocorrect, sorry about that, create Gutenberg tool. That's the tool from Ahmed Awais, and you can follow it here. So essentially you need the Node.js, but if you've ever worked with Gulp, Grunt, or anything similar, you will have it probably on your computer. If you don't, then do and install it if you want to follow this. Then we need to install the tool create Gutenberg globally so we can use it like this. Then let's say we place ourselves in the terminal inside our plugins folder, and then just type create Gutenberg and the folder that we want to create. After that, we just place ourselves in the folder and just say npm start. And now let me show you some screenshots. So this is happening when I typed the create Gutenberg Guten recent post. So he started creating the plugin directory, installing all the packages that we need, and after this has processed, this is something that we are seeing here. So what is this? It just says that everything was created, which it shows which functions or methods can we call to see how to extract it. So we are always using the npm start when we are developing one, but when we want to have a production code, we say npm run build. And that is it. Now you just need to go to the directory and npm start. So now that we have went over everything here, we can just start coding, right? So this is the exciting part, and I'm a bit afraid to make a lot of mistakes, but let's see. So now in this terminal, I am inside this plugins folder where the gotten recent post is here. So I need just to go to that folder and type npm start. And now everything is starting up. And let's see, okay, everything compiled successfully, and we can now start. This note here is saying that it's waiting for changes. So every time we type something, we will trigger the change and it will recompile again. Okay, so now I'm here inside my plugin gotten recent post, and as you can see, I have the Gutenberg, and this is the Gutenberg that has been installed through the plugins directory. And this, the master, Gutenberg master, is something that I have downloaded from their core, so I can read the uncompiled code. Okay, so the first thing we get here, we can just check the plugin PHP. Nothing special, just includes an init file, and inside of here we have several functions, actually 2 of them, which call other functions. The first one is here. So this is for both front-end and backend, and this one is only for the backend editor. As you can see, this will be loaded before this one, so we can actually have some common roles inside the first file, so they will share it also in both in editor and in the front end. And then here it is the other one, and this is actually something that we will use here. This is the script that we will have, the blocks build.js, and this is something that will be compiled, and here are some dependencies. Okay, so that's pretty basic. If you ever worked with JavaScript, you'll know how to enqueue styles and scripts. Inside here, the block folder, we have the block.js, and here is where the magic happens. So here it is where we will actually code. The first thing is we are registering a block type. So for now we have this as default, okay? And you can change that with whatever you want. I will just leave it there. And now you can have another title. So let's add our recent post. Let's say it like that. You can have whatever icons we want. I will leave it as a shield. A category can be various categories. I will leave it at common. And now we can also enter some keywords, recent post, and leave it like that. So I'll leave this to you, whatever you want. Actually, these are just the keywords that you are entering, so when we search for a block we can find it. I will remove that. Okay, and now this is our edit method. For now it's all statically written, same as the save one. Okay, so I've saved, I have changed something, this is compiled, great. We can now go to our editor. Here, let's refresh it. Okay, select, let's add another one. So we now here we have the Gutenberg recent blog post. So it seems that something with cache is actually, let's refresh, but never mind, it doesn't really matter here. Okay, so now we have this recent post, as you can see. If I add it, it will say hello from the backend. And if I update my post and I want to view it, hello from frontend. And if we go here inside the code, we'll see that this is hello from backend and hello from frontend, and that's fine. So now we have a static block. And you can also create static blocks. It's really fine. Do whatever you want, but I want to make something dynamic. So for starters, I'll just remove this, update it, and now we can begin coding. So first thing first, let's define some of our attributes. So we are going to select a post, and for that post we want some excerpt or content. We want to have a title, and I'm not sure, we maybe want a link, right? So let's define attributes. We want content, and that can be just a simple string like that. Then we want a title, and that is also going to be a string. Let's say that the content here will also be selector for paragraph, and in the title the selector will be h2, let's say. And then we also want the link, so we can actually check that post, right? So we'll say link, and that type will be a string, and the selector will be a. Actually, that could be an attribute, and the selector, sorry, and we want the attribute from that attribute, right? So we want this to, it will be a string from that attribute. Oh no, it's a string, but I think the source is attribute. This is just a top of my head, so I'm not sure if that will work, but we'll see. In development, you have to make mistakes to learn something new, right? Okay, so now we have, let's see, everything is compiled here. Okay, if we refresh, do we get an error? No. Okay, we are now fine. So we have defined the link, the title, and the content. And so now the edit one, we could write everything here, but I like to put this because it can become large. So I want that to defined above. So we will define it above. And for that, I want to create a component. So let's say that I want to have a class, select recent post, and I want this to be a component like that. Okay, I want to save that, and this is fine. And we don't have anything, so okay, we need to have a return method, and this return method can also have a render method, right? Or am I wrong? Or is it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. So we have a render method, right, that will return something. And for now, I don't know, it can return just a string. I'm not sure if that will actually work, but okay. And let's say that in this edit, I don't want this, I want this. Okay, if I refresh this, and let's say that I go here and I say recent post. So for now, everything is working fine. And why is that? Because we didn't hard refresh it. And now we get an error. And this is the component is not defined. Why? Because if we go here, we don't know where the component is. It's the same as if we were to go and say, give me a class of VP recent post and extends post. But this is not required anywhere in the code, and we didn't say to PHP where to load that. So that will throw an error, right? It's the same as with this modern JavaScript. So where can we find this component? If we go to Gutenberg master, we can actually find here various components, right? So when you don't know what to do, it's actually I think it's pretty simple. You just go to here and let's say class component. Oh, we don't component. It's not that, but not class, sorry. Like this. And you search it and search it and search it, but somewhere here you see that they are using it like this from WordPress element. Of course, we don't have this package, but we do have here something else. So we have this, and we will export that class from VP element. So as you could see, this is from the, where it is now, here is from the element. And if we go inside our browser and we say element, oh, sorry about that, element, you will see this component right here. So we can actually use that. Okay, so let's go back to here, and now we have this component. Let's save it. Let's see, everything seems that it has compiled. Do we have any error now? For now, no. But if I ds, which is actually here, yes. So we have now an edit method that is actually a component, which we can then expand as we want to. Okay, so before we do anything else, we actually don't have an access to the properties which are initially passed to. So how do we do that? Well, there is similar to the PHP constructor method. We have a constructor and we can say super arguments. Okay, and now everything that is passed here is put inside the arguments and it's passed to super, and this is actually something that will deconstruct the object into an array. So we are passing, let's say if we have props and everything else like this inside an object, it will become available inside our own class. So we can actually see if we have the properties now here. I will just reload this. Let's hard refresh it. And let's say that I want to add my block. And now you can see that these are all the properties from our block. So we have the method set attributes, set focus. We have the attributes here, which they are none for now, and we have everything. Let's just save it so we can always get it. So now even if I refresh it, yeah, it's there. So you can use that so you can check what do you have inside of this method, and that's pretty important, right? Okay, so for now, again, we don't have anything yet, right? We are just showing a simple string with 4 words, which is nothing to us. Okay, so now we actually need to have, let's say, an autocomplete, right? So how do we build that? Well, that's a bit tricky, and I hope I'll be able to explain. So what I did, I wanted to have something here that will actually see. So I wanted to have something here that will show the autocomplete, and so I wanted to see in the Gutenberg how they did it, and I searched and searched and searched. So I found this autocomplete folder and I went in, and this is the complete component of autocomplete and how it works. I'm not sure if we will have any time for that, but if you go to blocks, I mean for that to explain how it works, so I'm not going into that. But if we go into blocks, you here can see autocompleters, and that is something that I really like to see, because then we can actually see how somebody built an autocomplete from it. Okay, and another thing, I could now use this, go inside the folder of the master and search for it, and now I also see how they are using the actual autocomplete method. And so what I wanted to do here is, well, just copy it out. Okay, they do have a lot of other stuff here, right? But I will just use this for now. So let's go to our block, and let's say that I will put that here. Okay, for now probably it won't work. Nothing here will work actually. So I won't use any class name here. I won't use any style. Do we have a content? Well, for now, let's say that we do, but actually we don't. Okay, so I will remove this one. The completers are here that are existing inside, but we don't want that. I want to use my own, right? So let's go here and we'll copy the user autocompleter, and we'll paste that right here. Okay, and I'll change it to, let's say, recent post autocompleter. Okay, and so we are going to use it like that. Did I do it right? Okay, and now what do we need? Let's see. Okay, and now how can somebody know how to use the autocomplete? Because it's the same as if we are to use the component. We don't have it anywhere here. So to make that available, well, we'll also have to extract it. It's the autocomplete. And where could we find that? So if we go here and search in the components folder, let's just try that. That should work, right? Again, we don't have everything here. It should throw errors, such as rich text. We don't have that, but that is inside the blocks, if I'm not mistaken. So we can just use this, save it, refresh it. Content is not defined, of course. Why? Because that is this one. I don't want this, and I actually don't want anything like that. For now, maybe we can change it later. I don't want to do anything on split, not on merge, on replace, nothing. I actually just want a simple input where I can type in something, and then that will return, otherwise it will return something back. And the placeholder will be it will just be type post. Okay, so the type post, this and this and this actually can be left as it is. Okay, refresh. Whoa, what is this? Unexpected token. We might have that here, right? So what do we have here? Unexpected token. Maybe it's the, okay, we don't have any errors anymore. Okay, so type post, right? But I said it here, but if we look at our autocomplete, the trigger prefix here is at. And so let's see if we can get something here. If I type at, yeah, we get an admin, right? So, and why is that? That's because we are using the user autocompleter. So we actually don't need that. We need something else. So to get the recent posts, I will use this collection here, recent posts, then I'll say posts, and we can just now return the posts and post. The value will be post, right? We're just actually using the same thing as the user autocompleter. Then the title will be this, because we are getting the object back, and the keywords will be the same render. Okay, I'm leaving this here as it is, and on select, that's something that they will just return this. So we could actually test that, and let's see that we will get this back. Or we can actually, just for fun, check this. Okay, and let's now see what will happen if I double refresh this. Okay, and I go here, hello world is this. Whoop, what do we get? We get the excerpt from it, which is rendered, so the raw HTML is returned. And this is because I'm actually having only this hello world post in my in my blog. Okay, so now we are close. We are actually pretty close, right? Okay, what next? We don't want the trigger prefix to be that. We want to be this, right? So let's see. And also the class name, let's just put it at post, even though we actually aren't using any of this class name. So we could maybe even remove that. Let's refresh. So for now, nothing is saved, nothing is returned. But if I type this, yep, we get the hello world. We selected, we get the excerpt. Great. But is that something that we want here? No. We want something that will actually show the title and everything. So let's get back to this. And let's say that we want to have something here, an output. So let's say that we want to have class name, which is this props class name. So this will have now the let me just check, the class here that will be used inside of our divider, like this. And then let's say that we have an output. So where do we define this output? We can define it right here. So we can say let output and be this. Okay, we're using the let one because we are letting it to, we can change that. If we are using the const, we can change it. It's pretty similar to how PHP variables work. And this let is just something that will help you get used to it, to have some variables that can change, some don't, and it might make your code more readable. Okie dokie. So let's say that I don't want to have this when I'm browsing. Only when I click on that particular block, I want to see that, right? So if I say output will be please select a post. Okay, and let's refresh it. Okay, we have this please select a post. And then let's say what to do. Okay, so here, and now we have do we have this? Yes. So we can also see that this is focus is false, right? So if I say let's try it with this. If this props focus, then do show this like that. Okay, do we have any errors? No, we don't. Let's refresh it. Okay, so now it's only saying please select a post, but if I click on it, it say type post, right? Okay, so this is something that is immediately returned, but we actually don't want that. We want something else. And let's check it out. So where do I get this props on change is not a function? Because I'm probably having something here, but it doesn't matter for now. It doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's probably because of this rich text, because they are saying if we want something, it's changed here, we want it to be changed immediately in somewhere. So let's say the next content like this is nothing. We won't do anything with this change. We might do, but for now we won't. So let's refresh it now again, And let's see if we'll get that error again. Nope, no error. So yeah, if you're using the rich text or editable, then you need to have the onChange attribute set that will do something here. But actually we won't do anything here. We will do that on select. Okay, so to be able to do that, we need to actually pass that select here, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's actually define our method. So we can define it on change select or on autocomplete select. Okay, and let's say that I want to get the post back, and then from that post I will set attributes. So props set attributes and pass an object, and inside this object I will set what I need. So it will be the title, which is post title rendered. It will also be the content, which is post excerpt rendered, and it will be a link, which is post link. Okay, so now we have set it up, and we will also need to change this output. And how does this output get changed? Well, it gets changed by changing the state. So how do we change the state? We need to actually get a state. So let's say that we have something here that is get initial state like this, and this will return, let's say, what do we want to return? We want to return the post. That will be a selected post. Let's say it's something like that. And then we'll also use this, so we can actually set the state by passing the whole post like that. This will trigger the set state will trigger everything. So we now know that this will actually we can change the output by that, by watching the state, right? So let's say, please select the post. But what if we have the post? Where can we set this up? So let's say that we also, let me just check something. Yeah, so what if we have an actual post? How do we do that? Let's say that, so now this won't work. Why? Because this is a method that is created manually. So when you create a manually a method, you need to say this, and then you'll need to this bind this. So now by doing this, we can use this and use it here and here. Okay, so yeah, the set state is post, but maybe we actually don't need that. We could actually just use title and then content and then link, right? So this is the state. And now we can copy the same thing that we did here. So now we are actually checking this out, and then if, let's say, if this state title, so we have a title, then what to do? What should we do? So if we have a title, we'll just create an output that is a bit different. So it will be an output like this that will say class name is let's say post, and then we'll say that we have a link right here that will be this state post link, this state link, and then we also have an h2, which is this state title. And let's close it up, and then we also have a paragraph. Let's move it a bit like this. Then we have a paragraph that since we are getting a paragraph with let me open the, sorry about that, let me just open so we can see. Yeah, light, that's great. So let me get back on it. So we have a paragraph, and if you remember, this shouldn't be like that. It should be just this, right? So how do we do that? Well, in React, you can do that by typing dangerously set inner HTML, and then you can pass an object with HTML, and then you can paste the content, right? Okay, and close the paragraph. Okay, so this is now our output, and this will change this. So autocomplete, I can pass that inside of here, so we can do it like this and say on change select, let's pass this one. Okay, and now we actually, if we go here, and I expect somebody to send me this like that, an object with various methods, and the method is this one. I can say that on return, I won't return anything here, but I will say this and then post. Okay, and now we have, so please select a post, and if we have a title, then we'll change the output here. Let's refresh it now. Oh, we have an error. What the error is? Unexpected token. Let's see what did I do wrong. We don't need this anymore. Let's see. I'm not sure what went wrong. No, it's probably something to do with this JSX. Let me just check. Let's see, if I remove this, will it compile successfully? Yes. If I return this, oh, I also don't have a closing div. Corresponding closing tags, I don't even have an, whoa, what mistakes. Okay, now everything is fine. Let's refresh it back. So read property title of null. Where is that? In select of render. So what's wrong with this? Because we didn't set the initial state. So we are actually reading from an object that doesn't have anything here. So we need to set the state, and this state can be set like this. This constructor get initial state like this. Okay, and now we actually will have that. It should have. Okay, please select a post. Post, hello world. Whoa, an error. What is it? Cannot read the property of rendered. Okay, so what what then? We can have it like this and then say post. Okay, let's refresh. Let's double refresh just to be sure. Then let's type post, hello world. Okay, cannot read property rendered. Probably because I've set something differently here. And that is where here. Post title rendered, post excerpt. Oh my god, what mistakes. I think that's the reason. Whoops, sorry about that. I think that is the reason. So let's refresh it back. Okay. Post. Hello world. Yeah, we have everything now. It's linked to, as I'm not sure if you can see it here, but it's linked. And now what's the matter? So if I save it and go here, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to receive anything here. Why? Because the actual save function doesn't have anything here. So we can do it like this, right? And then we can actually just follow the similar output that we have it here. Right, this. Okay, like this. We can do it like that. But now we don't have this, but we have, so you could also go and you can also go and say, give me a content, give me a title, and give me a link from props attributes. And now we can just use this link. Okay, then we can use title right here, and then we can also use the content here. Okay, let's refresh. Let's see. Okay, overwrite, please do. Validation failed. Okay, select the post. Hello world, update. Let's refresh it also here. Okay, we have hello world and we have a link here. So that's fine. And now if I refresh it back, what will it happen? Nothing, even though we have it here, right? So what happened here? Why is that? Why that is because we have the here and we are checking the title from the state, and on the initial state we don't have anything. So what to do here? Okay, we just have to pass here the, let's say, so if we console log, I think we know what to pass, and this is this props attributes. Okay, and now in the initial state we can check for attributes and say attributes title, attributes content, attributes link. Save, and let's see if that will work. Let's refresh. Okay, it works. So now we can select, oh yeah, okay, update, refresh. Okay, so what something is wrong here, because it actually isn't wrong. It's because we are constantly updating it like this, as you can see. So everything is here received, but if I go and remove this, update, yeah, and now let's go and create a new post. Let's see, test block, write your story, recent, hello world. Okay, let's publish it. Let's view the post. Yeah, hello world, welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. Edit or delete it, then start writing. Okay, and if I go here, and now we can also use the test block, which is actually using the hello world, and so we are just repeating ourselves, right? But as you can see, it works, right? So you can go here, you can see here and here. So yeah, that actually was everything I wanted to show you. Before the Q&A, so let me just go through the code once more. So before we registered the block, we set the title, we set the attributes. So we are getting content from the paragraph, title from h2, and link from the selector. Then we created a component, and in the save method, we are actually using the same h2 title from h2, link from the attribute href, and the paragraph from this content, right? And inside this component, we are getting the autocomplete, only that will show only on focus, and we are setting the content below it. We are making the constructor here, where we are setting the state, initial state, where we are passing the attribute, so something is here. Then we are also using the on autocomplete and binding it to this, so we can use this and this inside of it. We are setting this attributes and we are setting the state. Once that is done, here the state changes the output inside this, so we are actually showing the inside the editor this simple post, and that's it. Now you can work whatever you want, you can change the CSS, but what I wanted to show you is how you can use this selector, autocompleter, not the selector, and also how you should actually not be afraid of browsing through the code inside the Gutenberg. I've done that. I even done that before this webinar, so I can even prepare myself even more, and you can expect more tutorials from me. And to end this presentation, I want to present that, of course, you can learn a lot more from me. I have the course, Become a WordPress Developer, but if you know WordPress enough for building your own career, this one won't help you. It will help you if you're starting out and you want to learn how to build complex plugins and themes. Then you can also join my membership with $3 a month to get whatever you want. So you will get the premium code, premium content, and unlimited replays of webinars. And another thing that I've started doing is working on a new Gutenberg ebook for developers. And I think that will help you a lot. Okay, so now I'm ready for us. We are close to 6, but I will take some questions so I can even answer them if you have them and if I know the answer, right? But as you can see, I also don't know, I'm not an expert in Gutenberg development, but I do learn, and I do teach myself a lot, so I want to teach you also a lot. But again, mistakes do happen. As you could see, there are bugs, there are errors, and as developers, we just need to strive to be better and fix them along the way. Yeah, so Neil, it's your first time seeing the changes to Gutenberg to React, where I've been. Yeah, React and Gutenberg are really related because Gutenberg is actually built on React. So if you know React pretty well, you won't have any problems working with Gutenberg. Okay, well, as I've seen, you actually stayed pretty much to the end. So yeah, be sure to watch the replay if you're not. And if anyone has any questions or just need some advice, you can ask me now, or you can also contact me through my website. Thank you, Mladen. Yeah, we should all prepare for the WordPress 5.0. even though some do say that Gutenberg will not go out in 5.0, but well, we'll just see what it will bring. However, we'll try to get better, right? So just read on React tutorials also. Don't only read on Gutenberg, but do read also React, because that will help you a lot. Yeah, I know that they promise, but yeah, you never know, because if Gutenberg can break something easily, if something is not done right, then they maybe shouldn't push that. I'm not sure about the accessibility thing. Not sure if it's accessible enough, but yeah, if they do work on it pretty hard as they are doing now, it probably will be ready by 5.0. Thank you, Tomislav. Thank you, Marco, for joining the webinar. I hope you didn't fall asleep. And I hope you learned something from my mistakes. Okay, so it's 6 o'clock and I don't see any more questions. So I probably just finish now a recording, and you can watch the replay right after I finish streaming. I think it's about 5 minutes for YouTube to convert it to video on demand. And that's all for me. If you need to contact me, you can always go to my website ebandits.com and contact me through the contact form. So thanks for watching, guys and girls, and see you in the next webinar, right? And the next webinar will probably be about building child themes and preparing them for the Easy Digital downloads, because my team is not prepared for them and I want to do that through the webinar, to the next webinar. So see you there, right? Bye.